Hey, welcome to Rust Revival Garage. What happens when friends and family know that you like to work on cars? Friends and family bring you their cars to work on. Case in point, brother-in-law is dropping off his Toyota Tundra pickup truck that apparently needs some brake work, so we're going to do some Toyota Tundra brake work this morning. Let's get to it. So the brother-in-law's got him a 2011 Toyota Tundra. Big rig, nice and lifted. It's got the special turd package. Yeah. Not sure how many miles, but we did have a problem, he said. Brakes were squeaking. Heard really loud screeches from this side. Then he heard it from the other side, and then today as he was driving over said he didn't hear anything. So still have a feeling we've got a problem in there, and the pads are a little worn and probably dug a groove into those rotors. So what we're going to do today is replace the rotors, replace the pads, and hopefully the calipers are in good shape and we won't need to replace those. That's a good looking beast. Let's get the wheel off. He's already removed the little cap, but I need to jack this thing up because that's OSHA approved, right? And I want to make sure I'm not pinching anything. No brake lines in the way, no fuel lines in the way. Alright, we just need to get the jack stand underneath the spring perch. Truck's too damn tall. Still clear. Alright. Did we not get this started? Yay! Actually, it's not bad. I always forget to loosen them when it's on the ground. Luckily, this one, these were not torqued. You saw me leaning the last time, right?
Yeah.
These are not torqued. Calipers looking okay. The rotors, for some reason it's just cutting a groove in just to a small section. So yeah, we're going to replace the rotors, we're going to replace the pads, and to do that we basically need to remove these two bolts here from the back. So there's a 17 millimeter here, and then we can take off the bracket, another 17 back here, and another 17 back here. Take this off if we're just replacing the pads. We'll take the bracket off here because we're going to take the rotor off too. Alright, let's loosen up the caliper. That's tightening, got it loose. That one's loose. Nothing I'd rather be doing on a Saturday morning than sitting on the wet ground changing brakes.
But it's quality time with your brother-in-law.
Yeah. Quality time would be sleeping. This one also was not tightened. We already did the other side. Gonna do this side just so I knew how to do it to make sure I can get it right on camera. So that side's done, everything went well. Just gotta take care of this side. Okay, so we got the two 17s off of the caliper bracket. This one's gonna be a little stubborn. These things are long. Normally you want to have a little bit of grease on this bolt. There is no grease on this bolt. Helps the caliper to slide back and forth so your pads wear evenly. There it goes. A little bit of rust. Oh yeah. Yeah, you see that? Ooh. Thread's a little tore up. This should be useful. Alright, one caliper free. This one looks a lot better. The other one, the boot was really tore up here. And nothing had gotten down in there, but this boot is actually still in pretty good shape. Alright, so we just need to squeeze that one down to put the new pads on. And get these old pads on. Well, that just popped right out. Yeah, you see how it slides in there? The other ones were not sliding in. Old pads out. Mouth full of rust, yay! I think I inhaled rust. Now the same 17 mil fits on the bracket itself, which is convenient. Same size and all. Let's break this one free. Fly and be free. There we go. The rain of rust coming down. One bolt. Two bolts. And there's our bracket. Yeah, the rotors are usually rusted on, so we just need to give it a little gentle persuasion. And water is splashing down. Almost there. Only the dust shield weren't in the way. I think I'd learned from doing the first one. But no. No learning for me. Ah! Before we put the new rotor on, it's a good idea to clean it up, get all the grease that comes from the manufacturer off. They use it to protect it so it doesn't start rusting. And usually I get it dirty again with my hands as I'm putting it on, so then I gotta clean it again. But definitely a good idea to get the inside because you can't reach that once it's all the way on. Alright. New rotor going on. First I gotta put that little rubber piece that I swapped over down in there. There we go. And see if I can line this up. There we go. Got it past the e-brake. We're good to go. Looking good. How did that other rotor look? Was it tore up on the inside too?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. That rotor was really bad. The other one on the other side was too. It had about an inch and a quarter inch groove just worn into the back of it. And that means that the caliper wasn't shifting back and forth smoothly and there wasn't an even wear on those brake pads. And So yeah, it's a good idea to make sure your bolts that are in your caliper are lubed up and they can slide back and forth fairly easily, give you a good nice wear on the pads. Oh, let's get the bracket back on. Hope if I had it on there. Well, you don't have to do that there. As long as it's just this side, that's fine. Alright. Shorty bolts go on the bracket. Longer ones go on the caliper. The hard part is getting these lined up. There we go. Got one started. And let's get the other one started. It's in the hole. It's in the hole. No, it's not. Story of my life. Alright, one thing I learned last time was getting those brackets in perfectly tightened did not help me get the brake pads in easily. So I'm going to try to put these in before I tighten it. This is the outer. And this is the inner. Brake caliper grease. Good idea to have this on hand. One will last you a long time. Good idea to put it right here on the ends so that it doesn't make too much squeaking noise. Some people put it on the back plate. Can get a little messy. But let's see if I can get this one in. No! Ah! Can't just slide in, can you? You hear it hitting on that caliper or that clip?
Yep.
Ah, it's just a little bit bigger, a little bit newer, so it's just not cooperating when you want it to go in. There it goes. A little more lubrication on the sides for the outer. This one's a little easier to put in because you can actually see it. Seeing it's really nice. See, look at that. See how much easier it is?
Yep.
If you can see it, you can slide it into these little sides on these clips. Alright, the other thing I need to do now is compress that caliper. Let's take a look up front. As you can see, I forgot to open it up and take some out. The first one I did on that side, so I'm doing this side. I'm going to actually get a little bit of this out because when I push that caliper back, it's going to push even more up, and I don't really have one of those turkey basters that allows me to get it up out of there. So I'm just going to soak as much as I can. I got to be careful I don't get any kind of paper material down in that master. All right, that's brought it up a little bit. Brought it down a little bit, I mean, and I'm going to put a couple towels around that when I compress it again. They have tools to do this, and it's a lot easier to use and a lot better to use. I just don't have the tool. So I do the old standby that a lot of people do. Use the old brake pad and a C-clamp and squeeze that caliper back together. Gotta be careful. I don't want to put any pressure on the hose. Is that your phone?
Yes.
Quiet on the set, please. There, it's compressing. Just don't want to bend that brake hose right here too much. get that piston pretty far back, as far back as it'll go. All right.
A little bit came out.
All right, so we've got that. Got the caliper completely compressed. Just have to fit it on. There we go. Nice and smooth fit. It goes right back on to the bracket, and we just have to lube up our bolts and put those back in. I'm going to tighten down these first brackets, the bracket bolts first. Got little tiny rubber boots in here. You want to make sure that they're lined up and they don't get pinched. Because when you put that the caliper back on, it tends to smush those down. Alright, let's do the brackets first. All right. All right. Tight enough. All right. Here are the bolts that go through the caliper. These are the ones we want to put this grease on. Get some of this rust off. Clean these up a little. Oh, it's way too much. And make sure they slide into those little rubber boots before going all the way in. Just sort of work them back and forth until you make sure you're not pinching those off. Now you're not going to really start to screw these in until you can feel them grab and you hear that little click. I don't know if you're supposed to, but I go back and forth. I don't tighten just one up, I tighten them up a little bit at each time just to make sure it's more evenly seated. Don't know if it matters. Could matter. Probably matters. And some of that grease is actually pushing out, so that's good. We've got a good amount in there, we've got a good seal going on. That one's tight. Ish. I'll wipe away this excess grease so it doesn't get on the brakes. And we shall tighten them all the way. One more. There we go. Torque to spec. I have no idea what the spec is. Alright, so we are good to go. The other thing I want to do is clean up, now that I've touched this so much, basically messy again. So I want to get all the sweat and blood off. And make sure it's nice and clean. And that is a brake pad replacement, rotor replacement. The calipers seem to be doing fine. The other caliper was in kind of crappy shape, so it's going to be changed out the next time. This one's still actually in pretty good shape, compressed fine. Now we just need to get the wheel back on and break it in. So we had a little too much come up. Just gonna soak up as much of this as we can. as I try not to spill it everywhere. I think that's good. Alright, so now the cap can go back on.
5.
Alright, jack stands out. Gonna slowly let her back down to the earth. Oh, or not slowly. You ruined my 4x4, man. You ruined it. It's got holes now. What we want to do is pull out of here, try not to use the brakes too much, and then just sort of roll down around this corner. Nobody's coming. And what I want you to do is get up to about 30 miles an hour and then hard brake it to go down to about 10. So yeah, get up to about 30. And brake. Go down to about 10. Start it up again. Any squishy feels, any issues? Brake it hard right here.
Now I got paddle.
There we go. It's now pushed together. Now go left. Get up to about 30 again. Yeah, you hear that?
Left,
Yep,
right?
left. There's no right.
Yep.
Go ahead and go about 40. Say thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
No. Alright, so we got the brother-in-law's brakes done. Hopefully he won't come and ask for any more favors anytime soon, because I got more projects to work on. My 68 Le Mans, trying to get that started for the first time in 23 years. My 85 C10 still needs a lot of work. I've got a 1978 Yamaha XS 1100 that I am still doing work on. So yeah, lots of fun. So like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks very much for tuning in.